Hey everyone. So I basically just wanted to talk about financial literacy and the importance of it given our current recession and state within the economy. I think it's honestly kind of valid to state that it's a recession given the lack of work that youth in our society, community in Toronto specifically, but also, across America and North America in general. And also, like basically the fact that within the stock market, there are billionaires funding money between all of their massive, mega corporations, and all of their money is just getting funneled between each other so that they don't have another, 2007 stock crash. This is something that's extremely concerning, basically because we're seeing these mass corporations being extremely greedy towards the working class. These are people, like you can call them like bourgeoisie, people that basically are more in control of the means of production than the workers. Basically, the workers have no say in unions anymore. A lot of companies won't even offer unions as a solution for the fact that, grocery prices are extremely raised. And all a lot of people are asking are for financial transparency and for actual livable wages. So basically, the main thing that I want to talk about in this video is stocks. So basically, with stocks, currently, a lot of these billionaires do not want to have another stock crash like the one that we saw in 2007. A lot of people, specifically men, are involved in stocks, and a lot of these people basically are funding and fueling companies that they can see exponential growth in because they are known companies that have already accumulated tons of money, and companies that have basically, proven that they will not crash because of how many other billionaires or how many other people are willing to fund these companies. So, for example, my father invested a good sum of money about 10 years ago into my personal student, I guess you could call it like trust fund, basically to help pay for my university, my schooling. So he basically put in a bunch of money when he had a child, specifically money that was going to go towards my education was put into a stock that was basically the Bank of America. Now, this is a pretty big stock. This is an example of how a lot of investors in our current day are basically investing in these companies that they don't really care about the morality of. Obviously, I am personally a person who does not agree that that was something that was, I guess you could argue that was it morally right if I'm looking to feed my children, and I know that this stock is going to survive because, a lot of people aren't willing to let the Bank of America actually fall and decline, but the more I talk to other people about like what stocks they're investing in, right? Like I've learned like even current coworkers, right? Like they have stocks in companies that I don't necessarily agree with, and companies that, you are actually funding. And, when I look, like my dad luckily took his shares out of that stock, right? But because stocks like these that are like largely owned by, workers and like also business owners, right? Like these stocks are less likely to crash. However, in order to actually take back like workers' rights and actually fund, environmentally friendly like stocks, funding companies that we actually truly believe will be not for profit and instead for the workers, right? We have to actually be considering what we're putting our money into. Like I saw this meme on like Instagram Reels the other day. It was basically talking about how like, it was like this joke about how the stock bros were telling other stock bros to invest in pork sales. And, like in order to get that bank, you gotta basically like trade while like Christmas is right around the corner, because we know the like sales within like pork and beef and stuff like that, like they're gonna be raising, and like people are going to want to buy like certain types of meals and stuff like that. Like, so invest in pork now because, we know the holidays are coming up and a lot of people are buying hams, right? And like, yeah, you could say like, oh, that's like harmless, right? Investing in like pork. But at the same time, like if you actually look a little deeper, investing in stocks like, like the development of like agriculture and like specifically like the slaughtering of animals, like, is it justified to like continue funding companies that are like slaughtering animals? Like, I don't know, right? But basically, the moral of this video is financial literacy, and basically how, in order for us as workers and other boycotters to actually take back what is ours, we have to start investing. This goes to you, women. Like, a lot of women are not in investing right now, and a lot of my friends don't even understand what it is, and we just haven't been taught about it, and we just haven't had a lot of like open communication with people that are just looking to learn about it. So I believe that honestly, the next step in boycotting is genuinely using our savings, our funds, to grow our wealth exponentially with the economy, And this means investing into companies that we genuinely do believe will help the future children and, the future of ourselves, right? So this means investing in companies like, specifically, my dad was investing in companies that were involved with like transporting goods for like, Whole Foods or something like that. Like, there's things like this, like, you can invest in like companies that are more environmentally friendly, companies that are looking more towards, organic sale for like food and vegetables, rather than companies like, Walmart that don't like are kind of known to fuck over a lot of the working class, and specifically, being involved in like sweatshop work. Like, it's not good to invest in these companies. So although they've been around forever, right? All the people currently in the stock market just keep investing in these companies that are not genuinely helping people in their community, right? And are not going to be for the good of tomorrow, Like, I think the current status of billionaires right now is showing that they don't really care about the working class, and they don't really care about the future of the earth and protecting, environmental rights. Because a lot of people just are choosing to hoard and store their money. And, as much as I say, like, I'm boycotting things, basically for pro-Palestine, right? Like, I do that, but at the same time, like, we need to actually see a lot of our funds going into companies that actively are not oppressing other people, And I feel like that's a big step that we need to actually push and take in order to reach another level within our society that is more built on equity and more serving people that are more in need of help, right? I'm tired of seeing homeless people every corner that I walk. I'm tired of having a personal experience of homelessness, and like not having anywhere to turn to. Like, we actually have to be careful with how we spend and save our money. Having a savings account is great, but your money is not going to develop with time. It's just actually going to depreciate given how, like money changes with time, and how people spend. So please do consider investing and getting into mutual funds. That's specifically a good way to start. Talk to a financial advisor at your bank. So basically, I wanted to talk about how boycotting is obviously something that's extremely good. I choose to boycott companies such as Amazon. I choose to boycott, like, I don't pay them any money. Like, I choose to boycott, like, like Disney when I can, right? Like, obviously I do try to like mooch off of friends, but like, I try to watch things, like I pirate them or I buy them from like, like movie shops. Like, there's a store called like, the DMV. There's also places like, Bay Street Video in Toronto that basically offers like movies in like digital formatting, right? Getting things so that you can more so pay and physically hold the content that you're paying for so that you actually own it, rather than just paying a company to temporarily store media for you, stuff that you're not actually owning. And these companies oftentimes don't even pay their workers fair wages,